week. We have a very special game of the week.
Yes, we do.
It's a rivalry game.
It is.
They're separated by 8 miles.
Oh.
And I'm not talking M&M. Did you pick up that one? Did you catch that?
Unfortunately,
All
I
right.
did.
This week's game of the week is it's the Battle of the Atoyac.
Boom.
Garrison at Timpson for the game of the week this week. Should be a very good one. It's a rivalry game. Like I said, they're separated by 8 miles over in Shelby County. And these two teams are very familiar with each other. Mm-hmm. They play each other pretty much every year. I believe Jeff was telling me could be arguably the oldest rivalry in Texas. Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Unconfirmed, but could be.
But could be.
Yeah.
Would be fun.
But it should be a very good one this Friday night. I got to talk to Coach Patrick Gandy of the Timpson Bears this morning, so let's go ahead and hear from Coach Gandy. All right, we're here with the head coach of the Timpson Bears, Coach Patrick Gandy. And, Coach, how are we doing today?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Let's talk a little bit about this. Let's go back to Friday night. An exciting game against Joaquin, 52-49. Talk to me a little bit about that game and how exciting that was.
Man, it was. I've never been a part of something like that. We were down, 43-22, starting of the fourth, and with Joaquin's style of play, they don't make a lot of mistakes, and they got the perfect offense to run the clock. And, man, I'll tell you this. When it was 43-22, started the fourth, I was working on my post-game speech of, all right, guys, you played your hearts out, all that. But our kids stay resilient. And the one thing we always talk about, or I talk about pregame, is something bad's going to happen. It's all about how you respond. And finally, we responded in a timely manner. And, man, it made a heck of a comeback. And it was awesome to see our kids just fight and claw their way to the win.
And that's got to be encouraging as a coach to see your kids fight like that, especially being down with like 21 points going into that fourth quarter. So what does that say about the mentality of the team and the moxie that the team has?
I think we've had close games all year, and it felt like, Love Lady went our way. We were in the Westwood game. It was a 7-point game in the third, and we let it slip. Wolf City, we had a 14-point lead, got an onside kick, and we just deflated and let them come back and take the lead. And the Shelbyville game, we fought and clawed, and it was just back and forth. So we were fighting, and finally it felt like okay, it's time for us to win finally. And, the kids stay resilient, and we end up winning the game.
All right. Well, I want to ask you about your quarterback, J.J. Garner. We know he went down against Wolf City and he's back now, I believe, right? And playing now again. Okay. Yes. So what was it like kind of going through that adversity for the team? Because like we talk about in 2A, it's not just losing your quarterback. Normally your quarterback plays the other side of the ball too, defense. So you're kind of losing two players at that. So how important is it getting JJ back into the fold?
Having his leadership has been awesome this year. He's been he was one of the leaders, but it was more Terry in those senior groups, that group. But JJ stepped into a role, and having him out there on the field, you can tell it builds our kids' confidence. The ones that hadn't been around, a lot and been around him, but having him out there, and he's moved to the running back spot now. And he's helped out Braylon Parker at the quarterback position a lot. And I know, Braylon having number 8 standing beside him feels a lot more confident, in running the show. So having JJ out there has been awesome. Like I said, his leadership this year has been great. And, having him having that guy is awesome.
It's great when you have one of those players on your team. You can just hand the ball and say, hey, go get us some yards and go win us a game.
Go take off. Yeah, go take off.
Well, let's talk about this Friday's game. You got a rivalry game coming up just, 8 miles down the road. The Garrison Bulldogs coming to town. They're also 2-1 in district play and been playing some good football here recently, too. What's your thoughts on this game Friday? What have you seen on film?
Well, this is district implications of who's going to get, first, second, third. This week's big week. Joaquin's got Shelbyville, and if Joaquin knocks off Shelbyville, and it's a mess up top. It's one of those years where there's not really a clear leader just yet. But with Garrison, Coach Alvarez does a great job. He's always done a great job with those guys, and they have one of the better defenses that we're going to see this year. Man, they get after it. They line up. They're very simple in what they do, but they get off blocks and they make tackles. The one thing we have to do is execute and not make mental errors. We have to eliminate our mental errors. We're still getting too many penalties and little turnovers when we don't need them, missing tackles. We're going to have to play a clean game to win this Friday.
All right, Coach. Well, we're looking forward to it. It should be a great one. And yeah, you said it. That district is it could be completely flipped on its head this weekend. So we'll just have to
Quickly.
yeah, we'll just have to see. Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. We look forward to talking to you Friday.
Yes, I appreciate you.
All right, thanks.
Overall, and I always say this, you do so great with these coaches and these interviews. They
Thank you.
really love to talk to you, it
Thank
sounds
you.
like.
Well, either that or they know it's an obligation they have
They're,
to do.
yeah,
So.
you got it. They know they're on camera.
Either way, I'll take it. I'll take it. But yeah, I love talking to Coach Gandy, and it was good to hear about JJ. It seems like they did a switch that JJ's not playing quarterback anymore.
Yes.
They got a different quarterback. JJ's more running back. I don't know if that may have something to do, and I'm speculating completely off the rip now, but it could have something to do with the fact that he hurt his hand, and it could be that throwing hand, so maybe he can't throw the football very well. So they put Braylon. I believe they said Braylon Parker at a quarterback, and so now JJ's in the backfield with him. So going to be interesting to see. But they're going up against a very good Garrison team.
Yeah, they are.
You know the term cardiac cats?
I do not, but I expect you're going to tell me.
Well, cardiac cats is a term where a team it's always a tight game. Like they keep you on the edge of your seat.
Okay.
And like cardiac, always get your heart racing. Well, Bulldogs aren't cats, obviously. So we're going to call Garrison the cardiac dogs because they won their first 2 games by a combined 2 points. The very first game this year, they beat Wascom 21-20. Then they beat ARP 27-26. They only have 2 losses this year. They lost to Anahuac 42-14 back on November 13th or September 13th, and then they lost to Shelbyville by 1 point, 42-43. Do you know what the score was, Michaela,
No, sir, I do not.
for Timpson and Shelbyville?
No, but
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
It was also a 1 point loss for Timpson. So both these teams have a 1 point loss to Shelbyville.
Yep.
Shelbyville is top of the district, 3-0 right now, but Garrison sitting there at 2-1 along with Timpson and Joaquin. Shelbyville and Joaquin play on Thursday. Garrison and Timpson play on Friday. So this district will have a lot clearer picture after this Friday night. But Timpson Garrison, 8 miles apart, Battle of the Atoyac, should be a
Goodness.
phenomenal football game Friday.
Alrighty, and I expect that we can hear more about it on Red Zone Halftime Show
Well, of course, and the preview show.
and the preview show. Where are those going to be?
Oh, right here on East Texas Now.
Boom, there we go. Once again, our very own Kyle Owens.